Hey guys, so Bob Costas is ignorant, and I mean that in the most literal sense. He's just uninformed, but he's not the only one. Um, I've been meaning to make a video, a content video for my page. It seems like I've been doing a lot of VRs and contest entries lately, and there's a lot of good contests coming out, but um, I just haven't gotten around to sit down and do one, and finally came up with this idea. I saw a video from another page that I'm subscribed to, and I didn't really agree with what the guy had to say, and so I was going to address that. And in a sense, I mean, it it kind of explains why I do um, make videos and kind of the target audience for my videos, I think. But in the meantime, on Sunday night, uh, in the middle of Sunday night football, Bob Costas comes out and makes a statement that he made. Now, if you haven't seen it or heard it, you need to just search YouTube for Bob Costas gun control, and you'll find the video. Um, and he's since done interviews. I didn't see the one he did with O'Reilly, but he also did an interview with somebody on MSNBC, and I saw part of that. But um, and there's lots of videos I've seen. I've seen probably three or four in my news feed pop up with with the channels I'm subscribed to making Bob Costas rebuttal videos. But what it comes down to is just Bob is ignorant, and he's not the only one, like I said. And so let me address that first, and just briefly, because I just watched a video from Miller USAF, and if you haven't seen it or if you're not subscribed to him, um, he did a really good job, I think, of addressing exactly what the problem is with what Costas had to say. But Costas was quoting from an article written by a sports writer named Jason Whitlock. Now, if you don't know who Jason Whitlock is, he's a sports writer in Kansas City. I've read some of his stuff, and I've seen him on TV and heard him talk a couple of times. And have really usually I enjoy what he has to say, but in this case, he's just way out of the ballpark. And so Costas was quoting from an article in which Whitlock basically blamed guns for the shooting death of um, this woman out in Kansas City. She was killed by her boyfriend, who happened to be a Kansas City Chief football player, who killed her and then killed himself. And in the article, he says if there had not been a gun present, that they would both be alive today. Now that's just irresponsible to me. To even write that is irresponsible. I guess Jason is entitled to his own opinion, as we all are, but there's no way that you can say that. Murder has been around since the beginning of time, and they were doing it a long time before guns even existed. So to say that if this guy had not had a gun, that somehow he wouldn't have committed the crime that he did is just irresponsible. It's his opinion, and if he wants to state it, he should state it as such, but to state it as fact is just wrong. And then for Bob Costas to go on national television and repeat it as his own fact is even more wrong, because the audience is so much wider. Now, the interview that I saw with Costas that he did on MSNBC, he was kind of backing off of that a little bit. He was trying to say, well, I didn't say anything about gun control. I didn't say this or I didn't say that, and I was quoting from an article. It was his opinion and all this. But listen, if you watch the tape, and unfortunately for Bob, it's still out there and it's easy to find, but if you go back and watch the video, he was putting that out there as his own opinion, that if guns didn't exist, that these people would still be alive. And he says, well, they inferred this or they inferred that. Well, there's not really any other way to take it other than he blames guns for that crime. Now, getting back to Mr. Whitlock, Jason Whitlock is an African American sports writer, and in the article that he wrote, which Costas was quoting from, he also makes the statement that the NRA is the new KKK. Now, if Costas had put that out there, that would have immediately discredited Whitlock, but he's not going to do that. And so it's just ignorance. Now, what Whitlock is saying is that because the NRA advocates for gun rights, and because guns are responsible for the deaths of so many African Americans in the inner city, that the NRA now is equated to the KKK. And it's just wrong. And it's ridiculous to even insinuate that, much less just come out and say it. But he did. He came out and said it. And then Costas quoted from the same article, but of course he left the inflammatory part out. So that's just wrong, and it's ignorant. Now, in his video that I was just telling you about, that Miller did, Miller USAF is his channel, he makes a distinction that I think is important, which is that the community or the culture that they keep blaming, they said Costas keeps saying it's a gun culture. It's a gun culture that is the problem. But what he's actually talking about is not the gun culture at all. He's not talking about the gun culture or the gun community that we know, which is responsible, legal gun ownership. What he's talking about is the culture among many young African Americans in inner cities, which is to own a gun, which emboldens them to make stupid mistakes. And the point that Miller makes in his video, and I do recommend you go watch it, is that that's not the gun culture. That's a criminal culture. It's against the law for most of those people to own guns. Most cities have ordinances against guns, and whether we like it as Second Amendment people or not, it's illegal to own a gun in Chicago. It's illegal to own a gun in New York City. It's illegal to own a gun in Washington, D.C. And so if you've got one there, you are a criminal. You are breaking the law. And there's a big difference between the criminal culture, which allows these teenagers to run around and kill each other, and the responsible gun culture and gun community that America has. And so that's just ignorance. And by ignorance, I mean they just don't know. They haven't bothered to be informed. They don't have all the information. And so they put themselves out there as, in the media, as these well-informed, smarter than you people that we need to look up to and listen to, and they hope that they can inform the rest of us, but they haven't bothered to be informed themselves. Now, there have been plenty of studies done about gun laws and what good they do or what good they don't do, and we had a 10-year experiment under the Clinton gun ban with what it would be like to restrict guns. And it didn't help anything. As a matter of fact, I was in high school and college during those times, and when did we have this rash of school shootings? Right in the middle of the gun ban. Columbine was in the middle of the gun ban. There were a number of them. I lived in Kentucky. There was the Paducah school shooting. Happened in the middle of the gun ban. And so did the gun laws help anything? No. The gun laws did not help anything, because if you're going to be a criminal and own a gun, why do you care if it's illegal to own a gun? You're going to commit the crime anyway. All right, so that's that about the Costas thing. If you don't know about it and you want to know, there's plenty of information that you can go find out about. But I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. The other thing I wanted to address is something I saw on one of my channels, and it kind of, like I said, addresses why I do the videos that I do. And I'm not going to say which channel it is, because I disagree with this guy's opinion. It doesn't make him a bad guy. But I was watching a video from one of the other channels that I subscribe to, and the guy that makes these videos is a firearms instructor and owns a training school, I think, and does some different things. And he just made a video where basically he was talking about doing concealed carry, and if you're licensed to conceal carry, whether or not to carry with a bullet in the chamber. And basically what he said, well, actually he came right out and said it, is if you're too scared to carry a bullet in the chamber of your gun, then you probably should not be carrying a gun at all. That you're just not qualified to carry a gun at all. And I really couldn't disagree more with that statement. And that's exactly why I started making videos in the first place. Because when I started watching YouTube, I was watching gun reviews and I wanted to see people's opinions about the guns that I was thinking about buying. And it's really good to see people that that have some expertise in the field talking about what you want to learn about. I know some people really don't like nothing fancy. Some people do. I enjoy his gun reviews because he's very thorough and he has the information to back it up. He shows himself shooting. He tells you what he's done, and he also qualifies it by saying, "This is my opinion." And there's others out there. Such 00 is another one that I enjoy, and so I enjoy watching those videos. But I also wanted to get the opinions, and the impressions of people that were more like me, that don't go out and shoot on a regular basis, that don't have a law enforcement background, that don't have a military background, and just what does the normal guy think about this? And I couldn't always tell by watching the videos what those backgrounds were, and so I decided I would make my own. And hopefully you all know I am just a regular guy. I have my concealed carry license. I enjoy shooting guns. I own a few of them now, and can tell you what my impression of those guns are. But beyond that, I don't have an extensive background in tactics or weapons or anything like that. And so that's why I started making these videos for people like me. If you were looking just to find out what a regular person thinks about these things, hopefully my impressions can help you out. Um, and so when I hear this guy who is obviously a professional, who makes his living by selling guns and tactical classes and things like that, come out and just say, "Look, if you can't carry one in the pipe, you don't deserve to be carrying one." I just really disagree with that, because our rights are our rights, and he didn't say that you don't have a right to. To be fair, he said you do have a right to, but he said you shouldn't be. As if you're more of a danger by carrying without a gun without a bullet in the pipe than you would be by just not carrying. And so, um, my encouragement is for people like me who are just normal, regular, everyday guys, work 9 to 5 jobs or whatever, and are also gun enthusiasts and also conceal carry for your protection and for protection of your family. Um, don't be discouraged by things like that, and do what you're comfortable with. Uh, and that's basically what this guy was saying was, if you aren't comfortable enough with your weapon to carry a bullet in the chamber, then you need to practice more until you are comfortable with it, and until then you shouldn't carry. Well, he doesn't have the right to tell you that, and he was pretty enthusiastic about what he was saying, but the truth of the matter is, you know what's best for you, and you have the right to make the decision for yourself. And so, just as the regular guy, that kind of gets on my nerves, and that is verging on the gun elitist thing that really I don't think has a place for our community. So anyway, rant is over. Hope everybody's doing well. You're looking at my newest gun, by the way. I went out on Monday in response to Bob Costas and bought a new gun. That's a SIG P250. The first SIG I've ever owned. It's the compact size, which, good grief, this is not a compact gun, by the way. It's in 40 Smith, and I haven't shot it yet. I can't give you any kind of review on it, but I'm looking forward to getting out and shooting it real soon. So anyway, hope this finds you all well, and we'll talk to you again soon.